Here's today's In Touch devotion.
Today's scripture reading is Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, and she had an Egyptian maid whose name was Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, "Now behold, the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Please, go into my maid, perhaps I will obtain children through her." And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. After Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Abram's wife Sarai took Hagar the Egyptian, her maid, and gave her to her husband Abram as his wife. He went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her sight. And Sarai said to Abram, "May the wrong done me be upon you. I gave my maid into your arms, but when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her sight. May the Lord judge between you and me." But Abram said to Sarai, "Behold, your maid is in your power. Do to her what is good in your sight." So Sarai treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence. Now the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. He said, "Hagar, Sarai's maid, where have you come from, and where are you going?" And she said, "I am fleeing from the presence of my mistress, Sarai." Then the angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to your mistress, and submit yourself to her authority." Moreover, the angel of the Lord said to her, "I will greatly multiply your descendants, so that they will be too many to count." The angel of the Lord said to her further, "Behold, you are with child, and you will bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has given heed to your affliction. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him. And he will live to the east of all his brothers." Then she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her, "You are a God who sees." For she said, "Have I even remained alive here after seeing him?" Therefore the well was called Bir Lahai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him.
The Old Testament gives us the account of Abraham's life. He had a special relationship with God, but his faith was not perfect. Over the years, he came to understand the cost of disobedience, learning the hard way that manipulating circumstances can bring heartache. For example, God promised that Abraham and Sarah would have a child, but they were still waiting for that blessing when they were elderly. Already in her 70s, Sarah suggested that Abraham produce an heir by having a child with her servant Hagar. The result was jealousy, family strife, and conflict with long-lasting repercussions. Obedience will bring the Lord's best, but it sometimes requires waiting on Him. Abraham was an old man when God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars. This would not be fulfilled until he was 100, and Sarah was well past childbearing age, which meant that the glory for Isaac's miraculous conception and birth was the Lord's alone. One reason the Father has given us His Word is so that we might learn from the saints. Abraham's life teaches us that obedience is essential. When we choose to trust our sovereign God and yield to His timing, we discover firsthand how faithful He is.